What's up, everybody? I have an echo. You're an echo. You okay? You can hear
I'm
me?
okay. I can
Okay,
hear you.
good,
I
good,
can hear
good,
you good. I can hear you good.
good. Welcome back to My Child is in Prison Now. What episode? Oh my God, you guys. It's your girl. I'm your host, Tiffany Nicole. How y'all feeling today? It is Sunday. It's the day that the Lord has made, and today I have a special guest. All my guests are special because I select people to get on the show. I just don't want anybody on the show. I needed someone with some wisdom, knowledge, and some struggles and some journeys that they've had, and they've overcome a lot of
Mhm.
things in life. And I have Tarik on here, and he is going to share his story and what us mamas need to figure it out to get through this journey that we call life. And for all of us that have kids that are incarcerated, and for the mother that feels alone, I'm here to say you're not alone. I'm with you, and I truly believe no mother walks alone with having a child incarcerated. So welcome, Tarik. I welcome you to
Thank
the
you. Thank you.
platform. I
Thank you for
appreciate
having me.
you.
Thank you.
Yes,
I
yes.
appreciate being here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to Major. Shout out to Major. Yes. Shout out to Major. You
What's up,
guys
my boy?
on this episode, the question is your child coming home from prison in the next 6 months, a year, or 2 years? Or you're saying, Tiffany, my son's not coming home for a while. Hey, this episode is for you too. You want to know why? Because here's my question for us mamas and us fathers, but mostly us mamas because we carried y'all for 9 months and we got the stretch marks for it. Um, are you prepared for your son or daughter to come home? Are you ready
Mhm.
to tackle that next step? Now that your son or daughter has served a 5 or 10 year sentence, the question is now, are you ready and are you prepared? And what steps are you taking to be prepared for that son or daughter that's coming home? And I have Tarik on here. His name is Tarik Clark. That is part of an organization called Made New Organization that helps with reentry, resumes, all that good stuff that helps formerly incarcerated inmates to help them to get back on track. And I have Tariq.
Yes, ma'am.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I truly
Yes.
appreciate being here. I love this platform. I'm glad that I could be of some assistance to the mothers and fathers out there that, going through the journey of having a child incarcerated because in a sense, they're incarcerated themselves, mentally. They worry about their child all the time. They're hanging around waiting for phone calls, preparing to go visit them and stuff like that. So, yes, it's a lot to carry.
So Tariq, let's okay for the audience that are listening right now, share a little bit about your story because I know you served 25 years in prison.
Yes, I did.
Listen again, mothers. He served 25 years in prison. He is standing strong. And look what God has done, y'all. 25 years and he's out now helping the community. So I tell mothers, don't count that son out or that daughter just because it started off rough.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what God gonna do and what God is gonna turn around. And as we
That's
see
right.
with our own eyes, Tariq is standing strong and helping out so many people. So Tariq, give us a little brief story about yourself.
Um, 52 years old as of today, as of March 26th. I've got a birthday coming up. I'll be 53. I was born and raised in Inglewood, California, and to my mother, Sandra Delaney, and my Stephen Clark. I have two beautiful sisters and a brother, Tia, Taliba, and Stephen. Um, life, life wasn't even a hard journey for me growing up as far as a youth because my mother, she made sure that everything that I needed to do what I needed to do, she supplied that to me. Um, I never seen her struggle, even though I knew it as I got older. I realized that it was a struggle, but she never showed that to me. Like I never seen my mother cry over bills. I never seen her cry over rent. I never just seen her cry
Mhm.
over hard times. Even though as we got older and we talked, she told me that she didn't want us to see her cry like that. She never wanted me to see her like she was struggling or anything like that. So growing up, it was just me, her, my two sisters. But I was the type of kid that always wanted, like, say, like all the marbles. You know what I mean? Like we used to play marbles, and no matter how much I love my marbles, and I would shine them up and wash them and do these type of things to them, I would risk my marbles to get yours. And
Mm.
so, growing up, I would always, I had no problem risking something for something else. And as I got older, those risks became bigger and the things that I risked became bigger. So for money, I started risking my freedom. I joined the gang. I risked family ties. I risked my life, and I put things on the line like that to real. I lost a lot, you know. Um, I never understood my mother's journey because I never looked at it as far as me hurting her. I never knew the pain that I was causing my
Mm.
mother from the things that I was going through because my intent was never to hurt or harm nobody in my family. You know, uh, growing up in the streets, it's a code like you use is saying, never take what you're doing in the street to the house. Never take the drama, never take gang stuff, like never bring that type of stuff to your house front. But I was taking myself to the house front. So everything that I was doing in the street, I was carrying it across that threshold, no matter if I wanted to or not. So my attitude and my behaviors became worse. Um, but my mother, she always had my back. She always, if you know, she's the first person that they call when you get in trouble at school. She's the first person that they ask you to call when you go get arrested. So in a sense that growing up, she would always save me from authority. In a sense, like, okay, let me call my mother, she's gonna come get me. Let me call my mother, she's gonna come get me. And I remember one time she told me when I was, getting older, getting close to 18, she said, it's gonna be a time when I'm not gonna be able to come get you. And
Mm-hmm.
that was saying that you're gonna be an adult and they're going to start treating you like an adult and you're going to have to suffer adult consequences. But
Mm-hmm.
in the midst of all that, she became more of, because you depend on people and they in the street life and they become your homies. And so your mother is kind of like you kind of like separate that mother son thing, and she becomes your, you know what I mean, she becomes your ace, because you always know that my mother's going to do whatever it takes, she's going to do that for me, and you depend on that. And so
So, with all of that, it sounds like you came from a loving background. What
love
led you to be incarcerated, though?
my choices. I
Okay.
really started making bad choices in the streets. And when you make bad choices and you mix that with alcohol and you mix that with drugs, you just don't care no more. And so
Mm.
running around in the kids. So once you get a taste, and the bad thing about it is, once you get a taste of incarceration and you see that you could do it, or you could see that, well, I did 6 months, I survived this. When you come back to the streets, it's like, okay, well, that wasn't bad. You know what I mean? And that's not the type of attitude I have, but it's just mentally like, okay, well, if I'm trying to get a lot of this money, then it's not that bad if I do go to jail. And a lot of people really don't understand that, but the street mentality really has your mind warped like that. You know
Okay.
what I mean?
And
So
did you say you had a father in the household too, or no father?
no, my father lived in Boston when I was growing up, but in my younger years, he was there, like birthday cards and things like that. My father,
Mm-hmm.
he played a role. And we used to go see him. Me and my sister went to go see him a couple of times. He's a preacher, he's a pastor. So I'm a preacher's kid, you know.
You a
So
PK kid. You didn't tell me that. You did
yeah,
not
yeah.
tell me that. Oh
My
my
father,
God. So now I'm about to get up in you now since you a PK kid. You did not tell me that. Major
yeah.
didn't tell me that either. Look, I'm beating up you and Major.
So and the thing about it is, I carried that. I didn't want to carry that type of um obedience. I didn't want to carry that type of obedience with me as I was in the streets. So everything that had to do with church, everything that had to do with God, I I listened. I knew God and that, but I didn't walk that walk in my life. Um,
So you was Jonah, huh?
I was
Rebellious.
I needed that well. I
You
needed
was
something to come.
Jonah.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. So 25 years incarcerated. How was your mental and your emotional during those 25 years being incarcerated? And then on top of that, how did your mother handle the news of you getting 25 years sentence?
that's the when I got sent. That's the only thing I heard was her calling my name. When the judge came down
Mm.
and down that sentencing day, gave me 25 to life.
Hmm.
I heard her she just called my name like Tarik, Tarik. I could just hear it right now, like it was clear as day. Like, and that voice carried. That's a woo, yeah.
Ooh. So,
Um,
okay, let's wait. We got to sit in that because there's a lot of mothers that's on this right now, and I see them in the chat right now. Um, in that moment when you heard her in the courtroom cry out your name, I don't even know if you ever even thought about this. What did you do? What was your thought pattern and your mindset and your heart like when you heard your mom cry out your name?
I'm never going to see my mother as a free man again. I thought that 25 to life seemed so far away that I never today right now I couldn't see this. Um, I thought that was the last time me seeing my mother like in any other area beside like a prison visiting room or something like that. I didn't think she was gonna be alive when I came home, or if I was gonna live through 25 years of the life incarceration.
Mm. You have a lot of people have some questions for you, and we ain't even got to the reentry program. They like, so what? And then, tell me about your mental state for those 25 years.
I was still in the streets for the first 15. Um,
Explain that, mamas. Let's, cause okay, yes, let's sit it with that too. What does that mean?
when you come to prison, the only thing missing in prison is women. They still got the drugs, they still got the gang lifestyle, they still have the everything you need that was on the streets is there. The attitude, the chaos, the the weapons, you know, without the pressure, honestly. Like once you sit down and realize that you have to do this 25 to life, there's no stress because it's no time to stress and have my mind focused on other things when I have to live in this environment where 24/7 I have to be aware of where I'm at. So in a sense, you don't think about the streets. Prison becomes your home without you saying it's your home. So you adapt to the situation, and tomorrow's the next. Like tomorrow, you walk into tomorrow like yesterday never existed. So
Mm,
you're able to, if a relationship ended, if somebody passed away, if you
mm-hmm.
got bad news, if you went to the hole or the shoe program, yesterday never existed as far as walking into the next day because you have to let that go. You can't carry around something that's not going to be beneficial to you. You can't carry around, in a sense, you can't carry around hope.
Right,
You
right.
can't because hope will have you second guessing something and could cause you to wreck, honestly.
So, so for the mothers that are listening to this episode, what tips would you give them to maybe share with their sons or daughters that are in prison to keep their, their mental or to not get into any fights?
Well,
I know that's a tough one, but that was in the comments.
okay. But for them, for the child that's still in prison, they have to be focused on what they really want to do. Like I could say I want to come home, right? But every day I'm getting in trouble. I'm doing this. I'm playing with cell phones. I'm getting high. I'm disrespecting authority. All these type of things that I'm doing will lead me to spend more time in prison. Once you get the attitude saying, you know what, I want to come home. This is what I want to do. Then people talking to you to make you want to get into a fight, or the gang culture that's going to have you fighting, you got to walk away from that. That's what you have to walk away from first. So if you could walk away from somebody talking smack to you or letting somebody get up under your skin,
Hmm.
that's the first step. Then if you could walk away from the lifestyle that you was living on the street, that's the next step. But you have to say, you know what, I'm walking away from this fight because I'm walking toward these gates. What are you
Mm.
walking to? It's because if you dwell into that stuff and that stuff is first, then you're always going to be walking around that yard instead of walking towards something.
So you said 15 years, it took you a minute to shift. Now, how old were you when you went in?
I was 27 when I went in.
So 27, and out of from 27 to 15 years, you still, my father used to say hard, knucklehead. So you still was
Hmm.
like a knucklehead between 27 for those 15 years.
Yes.
So when
And
that 15th year, what shifted or what made you be like, um, I got to get my shit together?
my my mother, well, you had 15-minute phone calls, and I was talking to my mother on the phone, and she asked me, what did she do to make my life turn out like this?
Say that again.
She asked me, what did she do to make my life turn out like this? And in that moment, I never knew that my mother was carrying so much guilt, so much shame through my life, through the way I was living. I never until that moment. And the phone call is only 15 minutes, so I couldn't really get into it. I couldn't even express how I was feeling. Like it just caught me off guard, honestly. So I went back to my cell and I wrote a letter. It was laughter in the letter. It was crying in the letter. It was honesty in the letter. And I just let her know that she raised me excellent. everything that happened because of me is the choices that I made by walking away from what she was teaching me. You know what I
Say
mean?
that again for the mothers that are has guilt of the same guilt that your mother had, because I
Hmm.
know there's a lot of people that always say in the comments, or they email me or they text me and say, Tiffany, I feel guilty that my son or daughter's in prison. I felt like I didn't do enough. And it listening to you is your mother did do enough. You just
Hmm.
chose.
I chose to walk away from the learning lessons and the experiences that she was showing me. I walked away from all that and made choices that was not good for me, wasn't good for her, wasn't good for my sisters. I was the only boy. So I took away my mother raising a son. I took away from my sisters having a brother like right there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it became visiting rooms, it became 15-minute phone calls. And I didn't realize that when every time she came up to that school, how
Mm-hmm.
they looked at her. Like, this man is running around like a madman. What's going on in that household? You understand what I mean? I didn't realize that every time she came to the police station, every time she came up to a school, they was judging her. And
Yeah,
she
and the
had to wear that.
church too, because you
And the
said PK. The church was really probably looking at your mama's side eye and your sister. Like, how's she
mhm,
raising them
the
kids and she's
God.
talking about some Jesus on the pulpit?
Mhm.
Yes.
And she had, and for her to say that, um, I don't have to come into work today. I have to go to court with Tarik, or I
Mm-hmm.
have to leave work. I have to go to school to pick up Tarik. They was probably judging her, and I never seen that growing up. Now, as a man today, I could look back and say, "Wow, I really, from things that you don't really see as a child, that you don't understand as a, you will never even understand them type of things. I didn't understand shame. I didn't understand guilt growing up. I didn't understand those type of emotions and feelings and things like that. But as I wrote that letter and I relieved her from all of that,
Mm-hmm.
then I had to realize what it was that I was carrying now. Why was I making these type of choices? Was I feeling shame? Was
Mm.
I feeling guilt?
So soul searching came in after the letter.
The seed was planted. When she planted that seed when she asked me that. And I didn't exactly change that day, but the seed was planted. And
That's what
I
I
and
want to hear.
And I told myself, I said, you know what? This is not what my mother is going to see. This is not the thing that, this is not how the story is going to end when my mother talks about me. Oh, Tarik, oh, he's incarcerated. Tarik, oh, he's incarcerated. Or Tarik did this or Tarik did that, incarcerated. You know what I mean? That became the story. Christmas, holidays, Thanksgiving, I'm not there. So I knew this wasn't, it had to be more than that.
So to the mothers that are listening right now, listen to what he said. We're just gonna rewind back. I'm sorry, because you dropping some stuff right now that's giving me goosebumps, and I want to cry, but I'm not gonna cry. I'm gonna hold it together. It's because you said,
Yeah.
for one, you said your mother planted a seed for you to do some soul searching,
Mm-hmm.
and then for you to write that letter. So, mamas, I don't know what you got to say for your son or daughter to plant that seed for them to have that shift, not a change, but a shift.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
you had that shift. And then
It,
after that shift came, tell me what happened next.
Well, I waited. So when I wrote the letter, I
Mm-hmm.
mailed it, and then I didn't call. I made sure that it took about 7 days or something like that to get the letter. And
Okay.
so when I called her, she answered, and I just heard it in her voice. She was crying, but she sounded so relieved. She sounded so relieved, and so that's how I wanted to hear my mama. But that's how I wanted her to understand. And so moving forward, I pursued my education. Um, I started taking classes, but I was still on the fence. I was still messing around with drugs in prison. I was still messing around with cell phones in prison. But on the other hand, I was going to class, and so it wasn't working out for me. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't working out because as good as I wanted to be, I was still getting RVRs, rule violations. I was still messing up.
But isn't
Um,
it kind of hard though to walk on the narrow when you're in prison because you don't want to be in the fights? So is there certain things that you have to do because you don't want to have any fights, disagreements, or you don't want no drama? So is there certain things that you just have to do it just because it's just because you are in prison?
you have to be honest with it. You if you're honest with your change, if you honest with you want to change your life and be real about it, ain't
Mm-hmm.
nobody gonna be bothering you like that. You only get into stuff because of how you see it or how I accept it. You know what I mean? If somebody's talking crazy to me and I accept it as a challenge, then of course I'm going to be involved in an altercation. Being connected to the gangs, it's mandatory rules. You know, they have politics and things like that. So it's
Yes.
rules to that. So you have to be able to walk away from that and be honest with it, you know. And if somebody sees that you're really on a path that you want to go home, they're not going to stay in that path, because there's only two things that's going to happen. Somebody's going to see you doing that and reflect and say, you know what? I need to try that. Or you're not going to be real with it, and it's not going to work out for you anyway. You know, so
Mm.
as long as you tottering the fence, as long as you teetering on the fence,
Hmm.
nah, nothing's good going to come from that.
How was your support system while you were in there?
Oh man, my mother, my two sisters, they and they was there from day one. I mean, the whole 25 years, I always had a phone to call. I was always able to go to the store. I was always able to. I never wanted for nothing in prison. And my older sister, she was like, in the beginning, she was that tough love, and she was like, nah, I don't want you to be comfortable in there. I don't want you to be comfortable in there to where you come out and go back. I don't want you to have a good time in there. You know what I mean? And I really didn't understand it at first. But then as I got older and I got out of my own way, I understood what she was talking about.
I'm the
Brother, I
same
love
way with
you.
my son.
Yeah.
I know for us mamas that's listening, y'all may crucify me, but it's okay because they crucified Jesus and here he is. I didn't make it comfortable for Damiani. I promise
Yeah.
y'all I didn't. Sometimes when he told me to jump, I'm looking at him like I'm not jumping.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like I salute your sister for doing that. I know it was probably hard for her to do that, but like you said, tough love because the one thing you said, comfortable to
Yes.
make you want to go back. Like, oh, if I go back again, my mama gonna bail me out. She gonna
Mm-hmm.
take out a loan for me to make sure I'm good. And I'm not. And I didn't take out no loan. I didn't do none of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have to be tough like that, because they're gonna look at you like my mama's always gonna have my back. So even though my mother planted the seed, she can't be the reason I want to change my life. I have to be the reason why I want to change my life. Because through her love, I was still messing up. And guess what? My mother's still gonna love me. My sister's love, they were still loving me. So that wasn't like a consequence. If I got in trouble, you know, your family's gonna walk away from you, you're not gonna have them. So that couldn't be the base for my change. I had to be the base for my change. I had to say, Tarik, what do you want for yourself? Not what do you want for your mother, not what do you want for your wife, not what do you want for your sisters. What do you want for yourself? Do you want to come home?
Perfect. Let's talk about this change, cause now you free man, and you are over here saving lives.
Yes,
Like
yes.
for real. Now let's talk about the change
What
when you
about
got out. Like
about
when you
7
got
years left?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
7 years left on my time. I started furthering my education now, taking a few college classes, but more I was taking like skills. I was learning how to facilitate. I was learning how to mentor. I was learning how to tutor. Um, those are the things today is what I do when I came home out here. Um, so I had years under my belt of helping others while I was in there. I was helping others to come home. I was helping people write board their board report. I was helping people through anger management classes. Um, I was facilitating like about 4 or 5 classes a week, NA, AA. And so in the midst of all that, I was staying in my change. You know, every time I go to a class, I'm learning something new, but it's keeping me focused on why I'm doing this. So it was just a blessing that Major got out. We've been on 6 years now. So he came home like 5 years before me. And with that, he was setting the path in his change. He just kept telling me, man, it's different out here, man. Keep doing what you're doing because it's gonna pay off. Keep doing what you're doing, it's gonna pay off. That's all he just kept telling me
That
year
sound
after
like
year.
Major. And
Mhm.
he's still like that right now. He
To
still
this day.
say that's his
Yes.
tagline.
To this day. And the the main thing was technology. You know, because in prison, it's probably still like around 2010 when it comes to technology. And you come out in this world, it's like dropping you off in a foreign country and saying, go make it happen. You know, you've been gone 10 years, you've been gone 15 years, and you walking out that gate, no matter how much your mind telling yourself you got it, just the technology alone is going to have you walking slow. It's going to, patience is regardless. You're going to have that patience that you learned in there one day at a time. And I always say, one day at a time, one step at a time, to me might be that day. But in God, It could be years. It could be years away from me when I'm taking this one step at a time. It could be years before I get ready. He puts me in that position to do what I'm doing. He sat me down for 25 years. So I didn't get out the rush and jump into anything. I was just blessed to have the skills that I have and somebody in place to where I didn't have to worry about the background check, or my incarceration didn't halter me. And my experience in incarceration actually helped me in what I do today.
Y'all know my favorite, one of my favorite scriptures. And y'all know I ain't a pastor and I ain't a prophet. So, because y'all know I still drink my wine, me and Jesus this is my scripture. Me and Jesus know the scripture. All things work
Hmm.
together, the good, the
Yes,
bad, the ugly. It all works
yes,
together for your good. Okay, God had to sit you down for 25 years. Okay. And you learn life lessons in prison. Now here
yes.
we are, fast forward. You connect with Major.
Hmm.
Look how all look at it, your steps are ordered.
Yes,
That's what I'm
yes.
saying. So your mama's prayers didn't go in vain. It
Mm-mm.
just didn't go the way she thought. Just like us
Mm-mm.
mamas, we like, oh, Timmy's gonna go to college. He's gonna get married. He's gonna get a house. He's gonna get a dog named Fluffy and meet this amazing woman and work for a corporate job. It may not go that direction for Timmy.
No, no. Mm-mm. It and plus whatever field that you're coming home to after being incarceration, you have to realize that incarceration can hurt you. And they're not going to say it in front of your face no more, because as they say, they remove the box, the felony box off the applications, but they might have you do a live scan. You might have
Mm-hmm.
to explain why you haven't had a job in 10 years. You know what I mean? So without
Right.
asking you, was you incarcerated or do you have any felonies? They're going to see it on there regardless, whether through the live scan or what is this 10-year gap, you know? So if you're incarcerated and you don't learn those skills, then it's like, you're setting yourself up for failure when you come out here. You're setting yourself up to go back, or you're setting yourself up to have a harder time getting the job or being able to support yourself. You know,
So you get out 7 years later, right? What did
After
you
my
do?
year.
Yeah. So what did you do in the first 30 days of after you getting out? Because now we're talking about at this point, you get out, you don't have a job yet.
Hmm. Spend so much time with my family that they got tired of me, because I know. Because in a sense though, I didn't want that I didn't want that struggle of saying, okay, I gotta go to they've been waiting for me for 25 years, and then I get out and then I just give all my time to, I'm just gonna say, a job. I give all my time to Foot Locker, or I
Okay.
give all my time to this relationship, or I give all my time to helping people do something else. You know what I mean? So I spent time and time with my family, because not only did I have to get to know them again in this type of environment, I needed somebody that knew my story, that knew me, to help me navigate through the streets. So I didn't. I was honest with my family about everything that could hinder me when I come home. Um, don't please pull my coattail if they see me doing something wrong. I don't have it. Don't say Tarik has it. Don't sit back and say, you know what, Tarik will figure it out. Uh-uh.
Mm.
I might not. Last time I tried to figure out something, I got 25 to life. So help me. Like, even if I don't ask for help, because sometimes you're prideful, sometimes you're selfish in your wants and your needs. I need that help. And I think that they understood that enough to where they loved me with gloves on, and it wasn't no kid gloves. They loved me like adults, and they let me carry myself as an adult. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Right.
Um, they trusted, like, as I started, my little sister used to always tell me, she said, you know what? Your conversation is changing. Even if in the 15-minute phone call, she's like, your conversation is starting to change, and that was good. So that lets me know that our talks wasn't empty. It was value in our conversations. I know I had these nieces and nephews out here that, was looking up to me, will be looking up to me when I come home. What's Uncle gonna do now? I don't know, Uncle. I didn't want to come home with prison stigma on me. I wanted to be smiling. I wanted to be happy. I wanted to be joyful. So once I walked out that prison gate, I left prison behind.
Okay.
I, I,
Someone wants to go back to what you said about when you were in prison. They wanted you to expand a little bit more on when you said having hope inside doesn't serve you. She wants to know, or G Miller wants to know, what does that mean? What do you mean by that?
when I'm saying having hope doesn't serve you, in the sense that um because I might be so hopeful that, okay, I'm finna go home. I got this home going home this week. I'm not gonna worry about nothing going on around me, that I could miss everything going on around me. So I might I might stutter, not stutter, but I might um the word I'm looking for is I might not pause, but hesitate.
Mm-hmm.
So something could be going wrong, and I might hesitate because my wife's coming up this weekend to visit me. I don't, and it could cost me my life.
Mm.
I might second guess something that I should be doing to save myself or to protect myself, and it could cost me my life. So faith, you can have hope, you can have your faith, and you know what I mean. You can have it, but you ain't gonna walk around with it just like it's just, you know what I mean? Because
Right.
you really can't see tomorrow. Like I said, you really don't know what's. You can have everything planned that you want to do in prison. I could. Tomorrow's my birthday. Everybody's gonna be doing. They're gonna bring all the food and everything. Okay, and you wake up and there's no yard. It's wake up and you're on lockdown. It's wake up and somebody just got killed going to breakfast. So all that has changed.
Right.
So, until it actually happens, like I didn't know I was coming home until that week when they said, okay, you'll be going home on this day.
Oh,
So
you didn't know yet.
mm-mm, I didn't.
Okay. Because you
I
said 25 years to life, right?
hmm But I
Okay.
had got resentenced. I had got resentenced through the courts, so I didn't have to prepare to go to the board. I had went to the board twice and had got denied, but this time, with the Gascon DA that we had, I got resentenced, and so, but even though they was going to the courts and the lawyer told me, "Oh, he looks real good. I think you're going to be resentenced." I still didn't. I'm still walking around the yard and doing my time like I still got 25 to life until they actually came back from the courtroom that day and said, "You going home." You know what I mean? And then 3 or 4 days later, the lady came and told me, "You're going home on this date."
Mm.
Then I said, "Okay, now
Now
I'm
you
going."
said okay.
But until then,
Can you drop something for the mothers that their sons or daughters may have the same situation where they may do 25 years to life? What hope does that mother have? Or is there even a hope for that? Or
yes,
what do you tell the mom who just got the news her son or daughter's going to do 25 years to life?
the prayers are better coming from her. Honestly, I know that I came home because of the prayers, the things that my sisters was doing. My sisters used to. My sisters do so much in the community. I used to always tell them. I said, "Y'all gonna get me home. Y'all good deeds is gonna fall on me, and y'all gonna get me home." You know what I mean? I used to always tell them that. But um, oh man, love your child. Pray for your child. Talk to your child. Be honest with your child. One thing I used to shield my mother from was everything that happened to me in prison. I told her early on that we had a riot, and I seen her reaction, and in her voice it sounded like she wanted to come get me. Like, how can I? And so I said, "Wow, okay." So from now on, every time I talk to my mother, everything is okay. Everything. You know what I mean? I never showed her another bad sign of something going on in prison because I know that I could say that I had a fight. She could turn on a TV show and the TV will show prison and put 100 on it. And that's me.
Yes, the
No matter
anxiety will
what's
kick
going
in.
on that TV show, automatically that's my face on that
We
show. So I said,
pacing
you know
back and forth as mamas at night when you
what?
said there's a riot or something like that. So after that, you stopped telling her what was happening on the
I
inside.
shielded her from that. Yes.
Okay.
I might
I
tell my little
believe my
sister
son does the
something.
same thing to me. He'd be
Yeah.
like, Mom, I'm cool. And I'd be
hmm
like, you lying. But
Yeah. Yeah.
I think he does that just because
Mhm.
I'm the dramatic mama.
Yeah, and then because my mother told me she couldn't watch police shows, she couldn't watch prison shows. She was like, mm-mm. Because automatically that's me. That's where I'm at. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like
that's
no
what
matter
she's,
what it
yeah.
was, that was me and that was my situation. No matter what, you know. But funny thing is, when I came home, she shredded all the pictures, everything. She's like, that life is over. All them
Okay.
pictures is gone. Now, what am I hold on to them for? That ain't you. I was like, wow. I was like, I was like, wow.
You
You know
hear
what I
your mama
mean?
saying, she
Yeah,
looking at, that ain't you, boy.
that ain't
That's
true.
not you.
Yeah,
That's not what I birthed out.
mm,
That's not
uh-huh.
what God said.
That's a wrap. Let me get throw them away. I said, you did? I was like, but I got it. I understood it. Like
Not the
when you
first
listen,
lady.
yeah. When you listen to things, you really
Hmm.
hear. You really hear. You know what I mean? So yeah.
That's good. So, okay. So now we are a changed man. You got 30 days. You was with your family.
Yes.
Okay. So, how does the steps of looking for a job and being rejected, doors closing, like tell me what your mental state, tell me what how that is like now that you're free, now that you're looking for a job?
I
How's
was
all that work?
well, I was blessed to say, well, Major Major already let me know that I was going to be working for Made New. And he let me
Okay.
know there wasn't no rush because he been through the process. He been
People
through the
that don't
process.
the people that don't know Major, tell people who Major is.
He's one of the co-founders for Made New Foundation. He served 29 years in prison. I've been knowing Major since we was like 9, 10 years old. We've been through everything together. Me, Major, his brother, our street friends. Um, we've been through the bad, and now we're on this side. We've been through incarceration together. We were cellies at one point. Um, we've been through it all. So
Okay.
when he came home, and I'm watching him because when he got home, I was like, okay, because we separated for like about 4 years, about 5 years before he came home. I didn't hear from him no more. We different prisons and everything. So I didn't know that he was going through his change. I didn't know that he was, turned over a new leaf. And so when he got out, I was like, oh, okay, Major's home. But when I talked to him, he's like, man, it's not the same out here. Um, he was working a regular job, and he was just telling me about the struggles and the learning of technology and things like that. So um, with his mindset,
Go ahead.
he started working on with a couple of other friends of his, the Made New Foundation, to help people when they come home understand, reentry and what it looks like. Um, and with my facilitation skills and my knowledge of the prison system and my experience, he just let me know that I got a job for you. But take your time. When you come home, I want you to take your time. I want you to, because he knew the struggles was relationships, family, finances, and work. Those 4 areas is going to be your struggle. You know what I mean? So if I could be good with the family, that okay, that's good. I could be good with my relationship. Okay, that's good. Now let me venture out into this world. Let me get out and start conquering this world, because I know that when I come home or when I go to my family, I won't be carrying all that on my shoulders no more. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Because
Okay.
they understand the struggles that I'm going through, because I express it.
Okay.
You know, I express it to them. So it's a place where I can relieve, because we're not so worried about what you want to do today. You want to do this, want to do that? Because we did everything already. We just had a ball. We just had a lot of fun. So now it's time to like, okay. And so when I come home and express my struggles, it's like, okay, well, how you think we could fix that? Let me help you with Zooms. Let me help you with emails. Let me help you with this or that. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Um,
So
is
for
that
people that don't, okay, because your situation's you were blessed to have Major. You guys been friends since you were 9 or 10 years old. So
yes.
for the mothers who don't have like a major situation where their son knows someone that had, because you got connected once you got out, you linked up with Major, and then Major has a foundation called Made New. So
Hmm.
tell us more about his organization and the resources that Made New offers to inmates who are about to be released, or who I mean who are released now.
Yes. Well, we as far as the reentry part process goes, I'm the program director for that, and so I work on inmates coming home, um, resumes, clothes. We have the ride home program to where we'll pick them up from their prison, take them shopping, get them their first meal, drop them off either at their house where they're going to, or the transitional home that they're going to. Um, Once you enter into the Made New, we start with the I got classes. So you could take anger management classes with me. You could take domestic violence classes with me. And main thing that we actually try to get people related to is to technology,
Okay.
because we know that is going to be a struggle for whoever's coming home. And especially, 10 years ago, look where technology is at right now. So if you didn't did 10 years, you come home, like I said, it's like dropping you off in a foreign country. So we work with people through like the VR content.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we'll teach them how to ride the subway. We'll teach them how to use the kiosk machines in certain places and things like that. And we have support network of people that's been through what you've been through. So you have a comfortability, and you have the eyesight of somebody succeeding. So
Okay.
one thing that I always I always look at the forefront is somebody that did 25 to life in prison. When they come to the streets, they realize that they survived in prison, but they failed out here. So if things get tough, you don't want them to have that mindset to say like, you know what, it's hard out here. It's too hard out here, and they'll easily go back to somewhere where they see they had success at. and you don't want them to teeter-totter like that. You don't want them. So we're here to say, come on, man, I got you. I know
So
what you're going through.
for that mother like me, whose son is going to come home in a year or two,
Mhm.
do I go out and look for I live here in California, so maybe I don't count because now I
Okay.
know you can help me. You and Major. But for those that live in different states, what do you suggest for them on do they find organization? Can Made New help them? Or what steps should a mother take to get their son set up for the right program?
Well, it starts while he's in there, because this coming home from prison, the state will is supposed to, I'll say, the state is supposed to give you all the pathways, the alleyways that you need to succeed, right? But they're
Okay.
not just gonna lay it out for you. You know what I mean? They're gonna just make sure that you adhere to the rules of probation or parole. But they're not going to tell you that if you go to this organization right here, they're going to pay half your rent. If you go to this organization right here, they're going to get you all your paperwork, your birth certificate, help you get your ID. They're not going to tell you that. You know what I mean? Unless you ask these type of questions. Um, so
Unless the
the
inmate when
inmate,
so they ask that question, they ask that to the PO officer, to the pro
the,
officer.
the parole officer, or you use your resources while you're in there.
Okay.
You know what I mean? You use your resources while you're in there and plan ahead for all this. I'm coming home in 6 months. I need to start looking into all these type of things. I can start writing these organizations.
Okay.
I can have my folks on the street email these organizations and know that I'll be home in 6 months. Do I start the paperwork now? Because sometimes it takes a while to get birth certificates. Sometimes your parents or something might have to find certain documents or whatever. It's things like that. So the son or the daughter that's incarcerated needs to start that process while they're in there. For the
Okay.
mother that's out here, um, just have the environment. Um, you don't have to be
Define the environment. What does that mean?
having a place that your son or daughter could come home to that's not triggering. So if I got 3 kids in the house and two's gang banging and my son just went to coming home from prison, he doesn't need to be back in that environment. And hopefully he makes the choice not to come to that environment. So it won't be saying that I don't want to live in this house, mom, I don't love y'all enough, but I love myself enough to say that this environment is not going to be good for me. I want to give
So
myself a chance.
what happens if the environment is like that?
More than likely it's going to trigger the son to get right back into it. You know,
Mm.
um, it's sad to say that sometimes you have to walk away from those you love just to love yourself more. You know what I mean? And I'm not, because being in prison, you're actually, mm, I want to say that being in prison, you're actually involved in, you actually change yourself in an environment where everything is actually going on, right? So saying that it's all these drugs going on, it's all this gang banging going on, it's all these fights going on, and I actually changed my life. I was able to walk away from those type of things. But the second you walk out that gate, it goes from learning to doing. Because all these things that I learned in prison, soon as I walk out that gate, it's no more learning no more. It's time to do.
Okay.
And it happens just like that. Like all these, I was learning how to control my anger. Now I have to control my anger. I was learning how to not hang out with dudes that's, in my former lifestyle or former, things that I was doing. Now I have to actually do it. You know what I mean? And so if I'm walking in my household, is this with no consequences no more. It's a such thing as, a consequential change or a true change. Some people change because of consequences. You know what? I'm in prison. I don't want to do it no more. I want to go home. That might be the reason I'm changing, because it's consequences. But now that I'm home, there's no consequences if I go in the back room and smoke this joint or do things like that. There's no more consequences. And if your change ain't true, that's exactly what's going to happen. So those type of environments, you don't want to produce that, around your son or daughter when they're coming home like that. So it would be beneficial if they go to a transitional home or something like that.
And what about the mothers? Because we're emotional. We are
Hmm.
emotional creatures.
Hmm.
What should we do not to trigger our own sons? Because you know how sometimes, I can only speak for my household. I came from my household. They was always yelling and hollering, telling you what to do.
Hmm.
And so I passed that down when I was raising my son. And now I'm learning I can't do that anymore.
Hmm.
What are the steps I should take or us mothers should take when that son or daughter comes home versus beating them like you got to do this, you got to do this, like what should we fall back on and what should we move forward and give them a little, maybe press them a little bit?
I, I really believe that you know your son, you know your daughter. So if your daughter and son comes home and says, you know what, mom, I'm finna get this job, I'm finna do this and that, and he ain't got no GED yet, he ain't did this, he ain't did that, and you be like, okay, well, how you gonna do that? You understand what I'm saying though? So he's feeding me this BS off the dribble as soon as he comes home. Now, if your son was in prison and your daughter was in prison, they come up with these certifications, they come up with this education, and they say, "Mom, I'm finna do this, I'm finna do," and you can say, okay, I see that. I see that you planned ahead to do these type of things. You know what I mean? So, I know I could look at my mother and I could tell her something that she'd be like, boy, stop. You know what I mean? Like, boy, stop lying. And I
Oh,
don't
we
think
be knowing.
yes. And she's not going to treat me like that little boy no more. I'm a grown man now. So it's like, that's what you want to do? Like, that's what it looks like to you. You know what I mean? And so I think that you have to be firm you have to be able to be firm with the man because he's a grown man, or firm with this woman because she's a grown woman now. You have to be firm with him, but you have to, um, they're going to have their own boundaries, but the
Hmm.
mother has to be willing enough to cross that child's boundary to say, no, I'm not letting you go back down that path. I'm coming to get you. I'm not going to let you go back down that path, because sometimes you say, well, when we grew up, it was like, well, okay, hard head, make a soft, bottoms, or I'm going to let him bump his head. He'll figure it out. Snatch me up. I've been gone 10 to 15 years. Snatch me up. Help me figure it out because it's not the same. You do know more than me. You do, you
Right.
know what I mean? So and the child has to be willing to listen. As a grown man, you have to be willing to listen. You don't know it all. I get that all the time. You don't know it all. You know what I mean? And it falls back. I don't. You know what I mean? And I could take that. I accept that. You know what I mean? And I say, you know what? You're moving too far ahead. Slow down because you don't
Right.
know it all. These people been free, and they're not free in the streets. They're people free with careers, or people free with jobs, or people free just living. You know, um, I
So
think.
let's say if a son or daughter is not doing what you said be prepared before they come home. Like if you know you're coming home in 6 months, let's
Mm-hmm,
say, hypothetically, like the way the prison is set up, maybe the prison's on lockdown, so there's no classes being
mm-hmm,
offered. Because that is happening in some of the prisons where now they have the inmates in the cell 23 hours and one, and maybe they just have the tablet.
mm-hmm.
Because
They got
before it wasn't, you didn't have the tablets, right? I'm pretty, right? Did you
on
guys,
my
you
way
had,
back for the last like 2 years coming home. They had the tablets.
okay, so you actually, for the programs, you had to actually go into a class, right?
Yes,
Not,
we actually went to the classrooms or the
okay.
like that. Yeah,
So let's
physically.
say if they're not doing X, Y, and Z, what does a mother do then?
Well, Um, for me, I would tell all the mothers, why would you let this child or this man or this woman risk put your life at risk, put your home at risk? Because if he's out in the streets doing bad as a grown man, but still coming to your house, he's risking your house, he's risking your freedom. You know what I mean? And so, a mother would have to draw that line. So if you're not talking to your son or daughter while they're in there, asking them what they're doing, or are you taking classes? What are you doing to better yourself? What can I do to help you? Do you need me to send you some books? Because you want to prepare that child to be safe around you. You want to be safe around that child. So if your child is getting up every morning, I mean, everything's not going to be 100%, but you're going
Right.
to be safer with your child or daughter growing up. Going up every day, going to school when they come home, or working every day when they come home. They're not in that street life. They're not calling you from the police station. They're not calling from the hospital. You know, you just because you don't want them to put you at risk. As a child, we put our
Okay.
families at risk 24/7.
Okay. And
You
let's
know,
say if the child is free now and they haven't got a job offer in 90 days.
yes.
What should he or she be doing in that time frame, or is there certain programs they can be a part of to help them get a job?
Yes, yes. At Made New, we do is we help kids with resumes. We help you with interviews. We have so we'll do an interview with you. Like he'll be the hiree. You'll be the employee trying to come to get a job. We'll do interviews like that. We have clothes that you could put on because all doors are not going to open for you. You know,
Say that
If
again.
you did 10, 15 years in prison, 90 days without a job should not deter you. You know what I mean? Um, one thing that you know that there's always tomorrow. You can wake up and say, you know what, I'm gonna keep trying. You can learn this technology. Um, you could go down to the parole office and then let them know, and they'll give you a job easily. You could go to
Okay.
parole and they'll give you a job easily. It might be something that you don't want to do, but if you haven't found a job in that long, I would suggest that that's what they go do. Go through the parole, but they'll have you doing something like cleaning graffiti off the walls, picking up trash on the freeway. Um, so my best bet is while you're incarcerated, while your son or daughter is incarcerated, learn some skills, please. Further their education because if if anything, you're gonna have somebody want to hire you instead of you just taking any job that comes around. You know what I mean? Um, for the mothers, just make sure that you are focused on what they're doing while they're in prison instead of just doing time. You know, education, skills. They got college in there. Like you said, they got these tablets now where you can learn
Yeah.
everything you need to learn in your cell.
Yeah, now they got the tablets where you upload. Yeah, my son was telling me
Hmm.
like if you complete a course, something like if you complete a certain amount of courses, then you can get I guess enough credits where you can watch a movie or something. He was
Yes,
telling me.
they got movies on the tablets and things like that. You could get certifications on the tablets. Um, you could learn, I mean, anything that you could actually learn hands on, like as far as knowledge wise, you can get from that tablet. They might not have the carpentry, the construction part where you actually building something, but you can
Hmm.
learn measurements, you can learn metrics, you can learn weights, ounces. You know what I mean? You can learn all the mathematics that it takes for a carpenter to have. So when you come home, all you have to do is
Wow.
learn the physical. You know what I
I
mean?
did not know that.
Yes,
Mm.
and your hours add up as far as the process. So you could come home and be like, I got 1,000 hours in construction. You know what I mean? I have 1,000 hours under my belt. So like when I was filling out my resumes, they was telling me put all the hours that you had in tutoring or in being a mentor or facilitate. You know what I mean? And it was adding up to like 2,500 hours and things like that. You know, so keep a track of that tablet. Really is going to keep a track of what you're doing and what you're learning in there for the benefit you when you come home to give yourself a chance. You have to educate yourself in something to give yourself a chance when you come out of it because it's not fair out here, but it's beautiful if you're fair to yourself.
Yes. Oh my, you dropped a lot of wisdom nuggets in here on this episode. Oh my God, this was this was good and educational for me. So what I need to do. Well, I feel like I don't know, you can tell me if I'm right or wrong, but I feel like maybe 20% falls on me and 80% falls on my son to do for when he gets ready to come out.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Cause
And
yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
no, go
Am I
ahead, go
wrong
ahead.
with the numbers? Like I don't want to be carrying the weight for him when he get out. Like I gotta do all of this stuff. I need him to be on it, not me.
He needs to be 100% on it.
Okay.
And if I come to you, then it's gonna be like so. If my freedom depends on me and only me, no matter what you, none of the choices that you make is gonna affect my freedom. Nothing. So I need to be 100% concerned about my freedom. I need to be 100% concerned about my education. I need to be 100% concerned about my whereabouts, follow these rules and laws in society. But when I come to you, I'm really asking for that help. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Now, like we was talking about it earlier, it's like a son or daughter shouldn't come home and immediately like jump into a car because you're gonna get a car note, insurance, and I don't have no steady job or nothing like that. I wouldn't advise like for a parent just to give him everything that's gonna consist in bills because eventually he's gonna have to pay those bills. But without a steady job, and he might get a job, but if you don't have that job for 3 or 4 months, I don't know if you're gonna be in that job long enough. So I don't want them bills to fall back on me. You
That's
understand what I
true.
mean? I done
That's
bought you this
true.
car. I'm paying. I'm saying, okay, you know what? I'll
Car
take care of it the first
insurance.
month.
You're
Yeah,
right.
but so
You're right.
that's another level of stress and struggle that he doesn't need immediately coming home. Now, if he's been
So
working for 6 months, the
mhm.
job is okay. You're gonna be there for a while. Now you can see how to budget your money. So some dudes go to jail. They never paid a bill. Some dudes ain't never budgeted no money because they've been in the
Okay.
street life. So now I see that you know how to budget your money. I see that you're doing good at this job. I see you're gonna be at that job. Now we can learn how to spend some money. Now we can learn how to spend wisely.
So
You
you
know,
recommend about 6 months before they start to go get a car because that's gonna
six
be
6 months of working.
Oh, 6 months of working, and
Six
then they
months of
should.
working. Yes,
Okay.
because now you're making now you're being supportive of self. Now,
Okay.
as you're being supportive of self, now I realize, okay, you can pay a car insurance, you can pay this car note, or you can't. You understand what I mean, though? Without that, how do I know? Why would I buy your car right off the gate, or why would I put some bills in your hand right off the gate when you don't have no source of income?
And you
And
don't, you're
what does
not
that
stable
do?
enough. That's
Yeah.
true.
And
That's
what does
true.
that do when it comes down to things like that? I don't want to lose this car. So what you gonna do?
That's true. That's
You know what
true.
I mean?
Tariq, this
So
was a great interview and I appreciate you so much. Before
thank
we
you.
close out, what's one final piece or advice that you would give someone that's re-entering society and how us mothers can support our sons and daughters that are about to be released?
For the sons and daughters that's incarcerated right now, just learn something. Don't look back on that 10, 15 years and come home the same way you went in, you know? Um, and for the mothers, fathers waiting on the children to come home, man, I know the journey, I know the struggle, I know the joy that my mother had when I came home, but she didn't baby me. She didn't baby me when I came home. The love was supportive. We talked. My do's and don'ts. The do's and don'ts that I had for myself, the things that I told them to look out for. If you see me shut down, see what's wrong with me. You know what I mean? If I'm having a moment, it could be just a moment. You know what I mean? But are you okay? Check in on me, because sometimes during that time you come home shook up. 10 to 15 years, you come home shook up. You come home fearful.
PTSD.
PTSD for sure. You know what I
It's a
mean, though?
real thing.
So just love them as an adult. They're gonna make mistakes. Hopefully they don't. Hopefully they don't make mistakes that cost them. You want them to stay focused. And if you see them getting out of line and losing focus, please pull them. Please pull them, because
Thank you.
yes, please.
Thank you.
Thank
So,
you.
Tariq, how can people find you if
Oh,
they have questions to ask you regarding your the Made New program, and also like y'all take donations, don't y'all?
yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Okay, so let
Made
the
Youth
people know
Foundation.
how they can plant a seed into the Made New organization too, and let people know how they can find you.
You could go to the website madenewfoundation.org, and it has boxes to volunteer. You can donate. You could just go in and see what our program is all about. We deal with the reentry, the pre-entry, and the entry. We're connected to Dream Live Hope. They're with us too. We're like a hub organizations. You can reach me at Tarik C at madenewfoundation.org. Um, I take all type of questions. I write the kids and I write the people that's in prison. I send them curriculums to learn while they're in prison. Um, I'm here for them when they come home. We have the pathway all planted. We have the pathway all paved out for them when they come home. From beginning to journey, we see the journey all the way through. Um, we have another organization that we work with. It's called Stuck. It's in Boston, Massachusetts. She was a mother that has her name Tarik Clark. She's a mother that has her kids was in prison. We work with that organization also. She deals with women and mothers in the communities like that also. So if you want to reach me, Tarik C
I'm putting
at
it in the comments here.
madenewfoundation.org.
Yes. You guys, I'm putting it into the chat, the website. Again, Major is I love me some Major, now that I know you connected Major, I know you good people. And I'm so grateful that you came on this podcast to give us mamas some information about the steps we should take when it comes to reentry, the steps that our sons and daughters should be taking. So, mamas,
Hmm.
when you talk to your sons and daughters today, that's about those that are coming home soon, even those that are not coming home soon. You still got to
Yeah.
prep and prepare for that.
Hmm.
And for those that live in California,
Yes. Reach out.
he's here. If y'all in California, look, listen, Inglewood is up the street. Listen from me. So definitely look, I'm gonna be reaching out to you because Damiani better get it together. I'm gonna punch him in his
Yes.
head. But
Please reach out. Please. Yes.
I'm gonna be choking
Yes.
his ass.
Man, we know what it takes to stay out of these dudes that I'm around. They've been home 10 years. They've been did 20 some years in prison. They've been home 10 years. They're successful. They're striving. They're thriving. It's a that supports and that circle that you hang with outside of the house. When you leave the house, who do you hang with? When you leave the house, where are you at? You know what I
That's
mean?
true.
And that second support group is major. It's yeah, it's very
Your mama
beneficial.
planted the seed and then shifted, and
Love it.
then Major came in and he had you and then guided you and then
Yes,
listen, and now you helping the
yeah.
community, and there's so many of you guys that were incarcerated and now we're helping the community. That's not shared enough in the public's eye. We always
Nah,
talk about the crimes. Yeah, we talk about
we yeah,
throw away the key, but
we're the minority. My,
yeah, but y'all
my
really helping the
yes,
community. Like, yeah, okay, you did what you did. All right. You was a knucklehead.
yes.
Now you changed your life. Now you
Hmm.
helping out brothers and sisters who made that bad choices. And you're also helping out young people, I was told. Right,
Yes.
right?
Oh, yeah,
The
and we
youth,
got a
right?
youth program. Oh, man,
Yes.
them
Talk
kids
about
are
the youth
so.
program.
Oh man, we go into these organizations and we go help these kids. We go to schools. We help the youth out. We take the virtual reality, the goggles. We
Yes.
take the virtual reality and we teach them CBT, cognitive behavior therapy. So we teach them emotional intelligence through virtual reality, right? So what we do is we'll upload some content inside the headsets, maybe dealing with peer pressure, smoking, fentanyl overdoses, just real life scenarios, and they'll put their headsets on. And once they put their headsets on, you immerse yourself like you're really in this type of situation. And so while they have their headsets on, so say they walk into the bathroom and somebody's smoking,
Hmm.
they'll pause and they'll ask you a question. What do you think you should do? Ask to hit the cigarette, turn around and walk out. And so they'll make that choice, A or B with the goggles. They'll look up, make the choice, and then they'll be able to go to the next scene.
Oh, so just like the video games,
Just
it's
like the
real.
video games. Yes.
Wow. And now what's the age group for this?
Uh Mainly, well, right now. We're into the high schools.
Okay.
I
That's
believe,
okay.
because if you check on social media, that's all they do is watch content. That's all they
That's
do
true.
all day. So we're meeting them where they're at with the content, and eventually
Mm.
they'll create the content at the end of the. So say we do like a 5-week workshop. That's like 5 classes, right?
Uh-huh.
The fourth and the fifth class, we'll ask them what's going on. So what's going on in the school? If they say bullying, uh, just say they use bullying. So we'll have them create a scenario, a good version, a bad
Mhm.
version, and they'll create these type of scenarios, and then we'll film it and we'll upload that into the content. So when we go to the next school, they see
Mhm.
kids talking about it. It's more realistic to them because they
That
can
is
see me all day
good.
trying to teach them. They be like, man, you don't know what you've been through. You was a kid in 1983 or something like that.
Yes.
You don't know what it's
You
like
was
in
born during the
2025.
dinosaurs. Yes, that's
Yeah,
what they would say.
but now that you see somebody in 2025 that's 16 talking about things that's going on with 16-year-olds, it has a more of a major impact.
It
You know what I
does.
mean? And they really know what's going on, because if I walk in there like this and say, "Man, what's going on?" They're gonna be like, "Man, get up out of here, man. We ain't telling you nothing." But after we work these relationship in these classes, then we be like, "Man, what's going on? How you think that we could resolve these issues? Would y'all resolve these issues? How would you handle this such a situation?" And then they so eager. "Oh, we could do it like this and this and this. And I want to be this part." We let them be the actors. We let them be the directors. They got the mics. They got everything. The cut scene. They do it all, man. They love it. By the time we walk out of there, they love it.
I love this technology that you guys have
Yes,
share have. Oh my God. Again,
yes,
Made New organization. They are out of Inglewood, California.
yes,
I
indeed.
am so grateful for this episode. I thank you, Tariq, for coming on.
Thank you for
Mamas,
having me.
let me
Reach
say
out.
this. For
Reach out.
y'all to say that my son is in prison and I don't know what's going to happen when he gets out, we are looking at a testimony right now on this podcast. He served 25 years. His mama planted a seed within that 15th year. Things shifted for him, and now look where he's at now. So, y'all, mamas that's praying, you feel like your son is not shifting, he's not changing. God is moving, God is working.
That's
It
right.
may take others longer. I think my son is a little bit longer because he's a little knucklehead, but it's okay. I still
Hmm.
trust God. And
That's
I
right.
still believe that if God did it for you and your family, God can do it for my family, and mamas,
That's
God
right.
can do it for your family. It's all in God's timing. You guys, again, it's your girl Tiffany Nicole. Tariq, I thank you so much for being on this platform. I
Thank you
appreciate
for
you so
having me.
much.
Thank you
You
for having
guys,
me.
I will put in the description box where to find him. I also put in the comments the website again, and I would also go back into the platform and share his information again. again, you guys, I thank you so much. The one thing I want y'all mamas to know, you're not alone. We are in this together. All right, ladies, I love you
That's
guys.
right.